Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, in this video I want to share with you some of my favorite gear for cityscape and landscape in 2023. Alright, so without any further ado, let's start with the camera. I love the Sony system. I have now the Sony 7R4. I used to have the GFX 100S from Fuji, but I got it stolen. My assistant and me, we didn't care for it. It was almost in the street and I got it stolen. I got all the money back from insurance. I love the GFX. Here's some of the shots that I got with it. It's really a better camera than Sony, but it's very heavy. It's very expensive. Every lens costs a lot of money and I like to change lens a lot. So I decided when I got the money from an insurance to buy the Sony 7R4 as my main system because it's just easier for me. Although it's probably not as good as a Fuji GFX 100S, you know, it doesn't have as much pixel, colors is not as great. I still love the Sony. So the main lens that I use is a 24-105. 24-105 is really what I do 90% of my photography with. I love to do panos. You can zoom in and really get like some good shots. You can zoom out and do some really nice wide cityscape. Also on the camera, I have this little L bracket. I actually love the L bracket because you can go like this and like this really fast. I bought this one on Amazon for very cheap. You have all the gear list in the description. Also, I have this Peak design here, and I'm not sponsored by anybody, by the way, but if you do want to sponsor me, please contact me. This is not sponsored. This is just the gear that I use. This is a Peak design Lanyard. I think that's how we call it. And I kind of like it because even sometimes I use it like to stabilize my camera like this. It's pretty cool. I like it because it's very heavy. If it's too thin, it can hurt your back after one, after a while. Now, because I have the Sony system, that's also one of the reasons I'm about to go on a 4 months tour to take photos. I'm going to start with Yosemite in California. I have my workshops in Venice, in Tuscany, in Florence, and then I'm going to be spending a lot of time in Paris. And it has happened to me many times that I broke a camera while doing the workshops. So you need to always have a backup when you do it professionally. So I got the Sony 7R3 as a backup to the 4 because it's the same system. It's a great camera. Actually, my books were done with the 3. So now let's talk about lenses. My second favorite lenses, especially when I do landscapes like Tuscany or Iceland or in the wild, is this one, 12-24. With the 12-24, I do. So this is a photo I took with the 24-105. That's a panel with the 24-105. But this is something I shot with the 12-24. The Northern Light in Iceland, I did this a couple of months ago. Or Diamond Beach in the morning, you want to get that rock as a foreground element, 12-24. 12-24 is really amazing for landscape because I find it's very important to find like a foreground element that you can really have as an anchor point. And the 12-24 really helps me with that. The other lens that I use very occasionally is this one, the 70-300. Now the 70-300 from Sony is really good and I use it to compress landscapes or cityscape. Look at this photo of the Eiffel Tower. I compressed the Birkin Bridge with the Eiffel Tower and I shot this at 116mm. My 105 was too short to really compress the photo. I really like that. The other lens that I use is this one. This is a Canon 14mm 1.4, one purpose and one purpose only, and that is sky, Milky Way shots. It's a very non-expensive lens because it's a manual lens, but you do not need an autofocus lens to shoot the Milky Way. And I always have it because it's 40mm, it's very wide. I manually focus on the stars. I did a video about the Milky Way shoots. You can see it in my description if you want to. It's an older video, but it's kind of cool. So that's basically it. All I use for lenses, very wide, 24-105, and then very zoomed in. I don't do much portrait when I'm traveling. This is going to be a cityscape and landscape adventure. Now, a couple of other gears that I use is mostly this ND1000 filter. Let me show you. I love to do like very long exposure. Like for example, this is a 95-second exposure I did using an ND1000 filter. I have changed brands over the years. The one that I use now is KZ. Again, not being sponsored. Again, would love to get sponsored. And this one is actually really cool. This is a variable filter from Tiffany that I use when let's say I want just like on this photo, for example, I just want a little bit of extra. I want to go to 20 seconds and it's already getting dark. ND1000 is going to be too much, so I use an ND variable. And this one I really love. It's from Tiffany. Sometimes what I do, I also have this crazy filter here to do infrared. I don't do it often, but this is a photo I got out of it. This is the Hoya Infrared Air 72 for this kind of infrared effect. I'm actually going to do a video on this one day. And sometimes what I do is I take both of my filter and I combine them together. Meaning I take the ND10 and the variable, and I put them together, and I did this 149-second exposure of this view of Venice. I did a whole video on how I did that photo. If you're interested in extra long exposure, the link is going to be actually maybe at the end of this video or in the description. You got to check it out. I don't know where I'm going to put the link yet. Very important, a remote. I have like a $20 remote for Sony. Very cool. Again, you have all the links under this video. The reason why you have a remote is to do exposure like this one over 30 seconds, because that's one thing I love with the GFX 100S system is you could do long exposure in camera without a remote. You could do like a 4 minutes, 20 minutes exposure in camera. With Sony, if you go above 30 seconds, you have to use a remote. That's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. I also have this little box here where I put all my SD cards. Got tons of SD cards. Little trick on SD cards, you don't need to buy expensive SD cards. I would advise you to get 128 gigs. If you get 256, they're very expensive, and if you lose it, you lose everything. The way I do my backups is when I'm on the road, I have all my cards. I never erase them. I load everything on my MacBook Pro, and then it all goes to Dropbox while I'm on the road. This way, if I lose my laptop, lose my SD cards, everything's on Dropbox. So that's why I like to go to Airbnbs that I have a good internet, because often the Wi-Fi is really bad in hotels. And backing up is very important. I remember years ago when I did my New York book, I almost lost everything. Thankfully, I had something called Backblaze at the time. I use Dropbox now, it's better, more expensive, but better. And Backblaze saved completely my trick, because I lost everything. I had everything on an external hard drive, but it was backing up at night, and I lost the hard drive at the end of the stay, and I would have lost my entire New York book, which was like a $20,000 investment. All the travel, the hotel, the guide, the authorization, everything. So backup is important. Now, tripod, this is my favorite tripod right now. It's called the Sirius ST124. I used to use Gizmo tripods for many, many years. They were like $700 a pop, and I used to burn them all the time at the beach. This one is actually waterproof, although I'm probably gonna burn it in a couple of years. It's only like $200 instead of $800 because I shoot at the water, at the beach all the time. I have water coming up. I know I should put a protection. I don't. I just buy a tripod every 2-3 years. Now this, on the other hand, this is the Really Right Stuff BH30. This bowl head, I've had it for I think now 12 or 13 years. I have two models, very expensive ball head, but I love it because it's got a clamp here. I have to tell you the story. I used, the system where you have like a screw. I have broken 3 cameras because with the clamp, you're really sure that the camera is really sealed to your tripod. And with the screw, 3 times I've lost cameras. They fall down. One time I was in Los Angeles and the camera broke on rocks because of the screw. So I was like, I'm done with screws. I only use the clamp system. Now, the bag that I use is Peter McKinnon Peak Design bag. I'm in love with that bag. It's a bit of a heavy bag, but you can put so much stuff in it. It's incredible. When you travel for such long, I'm going to be on the road for 4 months. You need a big bag where you can have everything. I have another bag where I have my laptop and all my video gear, but that will be a different video on video gear. Last but not least, the treasure of all, my favorite gear of all time right now, a DJI Mavic Pro 3. I do more and more drone shots. In Europe, it's kind of hard. I'm only going to use it mostly in Tuscany, and I'm going to go to Croatia to do some drones. You can't drone in Paris, you can't drone in main cities, but I did a few drones in Iceland that were really fun, and I just love the DJI Mavic Pro 3. I've used it in very heavy wind in Iceland, and it really has been very stable. So voila, that's the gear that I have. Now, I made this video of the 10 best hacks in Lightroom. I don't know if you've seen it, but you can click the video here. I would highly recommend you to watch it. Also, leave me in the comments one kind of videos you would like to learn, and what is your favorite gear? I'd love to see that. Also, what is your recommendation? I'll see you in another video. Au revoir.